The summer after senior year, I was diagnosed with stomach cancer. And of all the times for it to happen, that was when Diana chose to confess her feelings for me. Facing an uncertain future, I pushed her away. But fate, it turned out, wasn't done with me. I beat the cancer. 6 years later, Diana was my interviewer. She cornered me in the men's restroom. "Frank Miller," she said, "how about we switch roles from that day? You do that, and I'll make sure you pass this interview." The moment I saw Diana's name on the list of interviewers in the hallway, my first instinct was to bolt for the restroom. I never imagined she would follow me, backing me step by step into a stall. "Diana, this is the men's room. This is my company." My eyes went wide. After 2 years of fighting cancer, I managed to get into a top university again, and I felt like I was on top of the world. The reality, though, was that I had lost 2 years while my peers were already making their mark. "Let me out. I have an interview to get to." She was in a professional pencil skirt, and her slender figure made me swallow hard. Diana deliberately adjusted her stockings, a smirk playing on her lips as she asked, "Like what you see?" I nodded timidly, then quickly shook my head. "You disappear for 6 years without a word, and you think I'm just going to let you sail through this interview?" I felt a pang of guilt, staring at her flawless face, completely at a loss for words. "You're mixing business with pleasure," I accused. "Good," she replied. "So you remember we have a personal history." She moved closer, and I could smell the faint, elegant scent of orchid perfume on her. I instinctively backed away until my back hit the wall. "Frank," she said, her voice low, "how about we switch roles from that day? I'll let you pass the interview." "What do you say?" "What do you mean, switch roles? What do you think I mean? Was she playing games with me?" I was still trying to process it when she closed her eyes, offering herself up as if for the taking. Staring at her vibrant, glistening lips, my mind went completely blank. An interview that ends with being cornered by the female CEO in the men's room. Who was I to accept such an outrageous offer? While her eyes were still closed, I didn't hesitate. I bolted out of there. I knew she was getting back at me. I had rejected her so coldly 6 years ago. She must have resented me ever since, unable to let it go. So, I decided I wasn't going through with the interview. I had just stepped out of the building when I got an iMessage from an unknown number. "Coward, get back here and finish the interview now." I gritted my teeth and blocked the number. It's not that I don't have regrets. If I had known back then that I was going to live, I probably wouldn't have turned her down. I can still picture the devastated look on Diana's face after I rejected her. It's a memory that has haunted me for years. The very next day, I went with my father to a major hospital out of state. I cut off contact with everyone. My dad always said I had a stubborn face to match my hard heart. In reality, my pride was just out of control. Luckily, I landed a job at another company. The awkward part? It was in the same office building as Diana's. I was on the 18th floor, she was on the 26th. Every commute was filled with anxiety, terrified I'd run into her. And sure enough, the crisis I'd been dreading happened in my second week. I had started staying an extra half hour after work each day, operating under a single assumption. The CEO doesn't work late. I was wrong. When the elevator doors opened, Diana was standing there, head down, reviewing a report. I tried to make a quick U-turn, but she was faster, grabbing my arm and yanking me into the elevator with her. A big guy like me was nearly thrown off balance by her pull. Seeing me stumble, she quickly pressed her head against my chest to steady me. "You big oaf," she muttered. Her head against my chest left me stunned for a solid 3 seconds. When she realized our position, a blush crept up her cheeks, and she pulled away, leaving us in a thick, awkward silence. "Working on the 18th floor? Yeah. Learned your lesson this time, I see. At least you know to stay within my orbit." 6 years, and she was still just as full of herself. I stayed silent, pretending I hadn't heard her. But my embarrassment only grew when the elevator doors opened. I had forgotten to press a floor button and had followed her all the way down to the parking garage. "Sorry, I gotta go back up," I said, a bad feeling creeping over me. And, just as I expected, she grabbed my arm and pulled me out of the elevator. "I'm giving you a ride home." I wanted to refuse, but she seemed to read my mind. "You struggle, and I'll scream. Your call." Defeated, I got into her car. We drove in silence. I stole a few glances at her, and could tell she was sulking. Being a CEO had definitely made her moody. She slammed on the brakes at an intersection, and my tall frame nearly went through the windshield. "After graduation that year, why didn't you show up at Northwestern? Do you have any idea I waited for you for an entire semester?" Our SAT scores had gotten us into the same university, but I knew I couldn't go. I had to be in the hospital. Some family stuff came up. I started college 2 years late. "Are you sure you weren't just avoiding me?" I guess in a way I was. After all, I had shut her down pretty hard. I'd heard rumors that she'd gotten sick because of it. "I am sorry, Diana. I was wrong back then. I apologize. She didn't respond, just laid on the horn at the car in front of us, and kept driving. The second we got to my place, I unbuckled my seatbelt. Thanks for the ride. See you. She stared at me, expressionless, then pressed a button. The car doors all locked. Her voice was dangerously quiet. Frank, are you messing with me? Weren't 2 years in high school enough for you? You want to keep this game going? I had no idea what she was talking about. Well, had I ever messed with her? She was the one who confessed to me. What are you talking about? Nothing, she said. Now it's my turn to mess with you. Before I could even react, she bit down on my neck. It didn't hurt, but it tickled intensely. I was completely stunned. Diana, me what? Don't act so innocent when you're enjoying it. I was speechless. A sudden knock on the window made her unlock the doors and slowly roll it down. When I saw who it was like seeing a savior. I jumped out of the car the second I could. Diana got out of the car, her expression furious. Who is she? She demanded. I threw my arm around Chloe. Honey, you're here. Chloe froze for a second before catching on and playing along. Sweetheart, should we call the police? I'm pretty sure this qualifies as workplace harassment. When Diana left, her face was dark. It looked like she was furious, but I could also see a hint of despair in her eyes. Chloe was a friend I'd met during treatment, and now she was my neighbor. But her bone cancer had returned, and she decided to stop treatment. She knew the whole story with Diana and me. Why don't you just tell her the truth? She asked. Tell her you were sick. I kicked at a loose stone on the sidewalk. Playing the pity card just makes people resent you. How can you be so sure? Chloe pressed. What if she really did like you? Why? Wasn't it obvious? Back in junior year of high school, on a dare, I went up to Diana in front of everyone and confessed my feelings. I never actually expected her to say yes. But she walked right up to me, leaning close, and whispered so only I could hear, I don't like you, but you can take my hand and walk away with me. And just like that, we walked hand in hand down the hall. She saved me from total humiliation, but I knew there was a huge gap between our worlds. For a while, everyone thought we were actually a couple. But it wasn't long before she started being seen everywhere with the most popular guy in school, Ethan Hayes. The rumor died on its own. I became the school's resident sad sack. The ironic part? The dare was Ethan's idea in the first place. We had this unspoken rivalry over who was the top guy at school, and the only area where he had me beat was his family's money. He was right. A girl like Diana would never fall for someone like me. She and Ethan were the perfect match. For the next few days, I didn't see Diana at all. Instead, I heard about her from some of her employees in the elevator. I heard from her assistant, that MS. Vance is on sick leave, recovering at home. No wonder we haven't seen her. It's always the beautiful ones who are so fragile. Tell me about it. I heard she has to go to the hospital every month for some kind of alternative treatments. I was shocked. Diana was sick, in poor health. It couldn't be because of me, could it? Since we'd met again, I could tell she wanted revenge, which is why she was being so aggressive. What she didn't understand was that the feelings I had worked so hard to bury threatened to come rushing back every time she got near. That's why I had to do everything I could to keep my distance. The moment I stepped out of the elevator, my phone blew up with notifications. I opened it to see Diana had added me to our old high school group chat, and everyone was tagging me. Frank Miller, you're alive. You have to come to the reunion. If Frank doesn't come, we're canceling the whole thing. I thought about it for a second, then typed a reply. I'm in. The chat erupted in cheers. I figured Diana would be there too. I wanted to see her, to see if she was okay. At the reunion, everyone was curious about why I had just vanished back in the day. I just gave a vague smile and mentioned some family issues, and they were kind enough to drop it. Our old class president sidled up to me. Frank, have you and Diana been in touch? I shook my head. That's weird. She told me she wouldn't come unless you did. Just as I was puzzling over that, the door to our private room opened. Diana walked in, with a tall and confident Ethan Hayes right behind her. I'd heard he just got back from studying abroad last year. I always felt an irrational hostility toward him, probably because of that stupid dare. Everyone crowded around them, greeting them warmly. How did you two get here together? Is there something going on between you? They were always close. It wouldn't be a surprise if they were finally a couple. Diana glanced at me, a small smile playing on her lips, but she didn't deny it. It looked like she was feeling better. Her cheeks had a healthy glow. During dinner, the conversation turned to jobs and careers. Our class had been full of honor students, so it was no surprise that everyone was doing well for themselves. Then there was me. After chemo, I had to reapply to college. I still got into a good school, but I was a full 2 years behind everyone else. Whenever the conversation turned to me, I did my best to change the subject. And every time, Diana would conveniently call for a toast. I was relieved to have dodged another bullet. Frank, you haven't had a single drink, one of my old classmates called out. Come on, we're all drinking. You can't just stick to soda. He produced a shot glass from somewhere and slid it in front of me, filled to the brim. Sorry, I said. I'm on antibiotics. The mood got a little awkward. My cancer was in remission, but alcohol was still completely off limits. Wow, Frank, you're really dedicated, coming out even when you're sick, Ethan said smoothly. All right, guys, leave him alone. I'll take this one for him. What phony, I thought. Ethan picked up the shot glass and down in one go. Diana's eyes were fixed on me, but her hand reached for a napkin, which she then held out for Ethan to wipe a drop of liquor from his lips. Thanks, he said. Their little display was making me sick. I couldn't watch anymore, so I excused myself to the restroom. I ended up out the back door of the hotel, facing a small bamboo garden, just trying to get a moment of peace. Honestly, with his looks and family background, Ethan was a perfect match for Diana. Why did I have to be upset? I was the one who rejected her. So why did I feel this knot of irritation in my stomach? Just then, I heard soft footsteps behind me. I turned to see Diana's stunning face. For a moment, I was completely captivated. Honey, I did some checking. You're not married. Fine, girlfriend then. Diana, can you please stop sneaking up on me like that? Oh, do you have something to hide? She was teasing me, a playful smile on her red lips. I hadn't had a drop of alcohol, but I felt dizzy, completely mesmerized by her. Frank, how many girlfriends have you had since high school? Diana, I don't really think that's any of your business. Her crimson lips moved closer until they were inches from my face. I caught that faint, elegant scent of orchids again. From a distance, we probably looked like a couple in the middle of a fight. Am I not an option? I'm willing to forget the past. Can't you just give me a chance? Diana, you're drunk. Come on, let me help you back inside. A flicker of disappointment crossed her eyes, but it was quickly replaced by a scornful smile. What's the matter? Scared to play the field? I thought you were such a player back in the day. Lost your nerve. I knew it. She was just trying to mess with me. This was the real her. Normally, after an insult like that, I would have pushed her away again. But tonight, I felt like playing along. Sure, I said, calling her bluff. If you're offering, who am I to say no? She looked stunned for a second, the resentment in her eyes melting into something else. All right then, she whispered. Let me have a sample. Her lips came toward mine again. And again, I had to push her away. She stumbled back, stunned, then let out a self-deprecating laugh. You really haven't changed, have you? Lure me in, get what you want, and then push me away. That's not what I meant, I started to say, but before I could finish, Ethan showed up. What's going on with you two? Diana turned, walked over to him, and wrapped her arms around him. Stay with me tonight? She asked. Both Ethan and I were completely floored. A flicker of delight crossed Ethan's face, and he nodded without a second's hesitation. Okay. As they were leaving, he glanced back at me with a triumphant smirk. I slapped my cheeks a couple of times, trying to relax my tense face. It wasn't surprising. Diana had always been into him. They were probably already together. I had rejected Diana's confession and broken her heart. Of course she hated me. I could explain away all her strange behavior, since we'd met again with that. The one explanation I couldn't accept was that she might actually like me. The next day, I ran into Diana downstairs again. She had dark circles under her eyes. It looked like she'd been up all night. She and Ethan had left the reunion early, and it wasn't hard to guess why. Ugh. I spat my gum into a napkin and tossed it in the trash. I pulled out my phone and saw a new message in the group chat. You guys will not believe where those two went last night. Apparently, Ethan just watched Diana play League of Legends at a gaming cafe all night. She grinded a new account all the way to level 30. Can you believe it? A moment later, the message was deleted. Oops, wrong chat, the person wrote. Then, Ethan left the group. I put my phone away and glanced toward the elevators. Diana had just stepped inside, rubbing her temples, looking completely exhausted. What was going on in her head? I couldn't figure her out at all. That afternoon, while I was zoning out at my desk, I got a call from Chloe, reminding me about my follow-up appointment at the hospital that week. Ever since I went into remission, she's been more on top of my health than my own dad. She'd say she might not be around for much longer, so she had to make sure I would be. That weekend, after my appointment, I was heading out of the hospital when I saw a familiar figure around the corner. Diana? What is she doing here? Could the rumors be true? Was she really sick? I followed at a distance and saw her go into a specific department. I casually wandered over, but when I read the sign on the door, I froze. The door was slightly ajar. I could hear Diana's voice, a mix of urgency and frustration. Why is it only when I'm around him that I feel that intense physical desire? I don't feel that way about any other man. Doctor, is there something wrong with me? Miss, this is the gynecology department. I suggest you try seeing a therapist or maybe a neurologist. I was completely bewildered. No way. She couldn't be talking about me, could she? Could my rejecting her have caused some kind of psychological block? It would explain why she acts like she hates me, but can't seem to stay away. Suddenly, it all started to make a twisted kind of sense. I closed my eyes and smacked my forehead. What had I done to her? I opened my eyes to find Diana standing right in front of me, a look of pure disdain on her face. "What are you doing here?" she demanded. "Doctor's appointment. In the gynecology wing?" I was silent. She glanced around. "With your girlfriend? Or maybe I just got lost?" I tried to make a break for it, but she grabbed my arm. "Frank, we need to talk." I took a deep breath, gathering my courage. "Diana, listen, I know this is my fault. Because of what I did, you developed this condition. But I can't be in a purely physical relationship, and I'm definitely not doing some kind of contract dating thing. But I'm willing to help you, with therapy or whatever. I'm sure you'll get better, and then you can be with someone you actually like." My little speech seemed to stun her into silence. After a few seconds, the light in her eyes faded. She lowered her head and let out a bitter laugh. "Are you really that terrified of being involved with me?" The orange glow of the setting sun streamed through the window, illuminating her. She turned to leave, then paused. "Don't worry," she said without looking back. "This has nothing to do with you. It's just a consequence of living a little too hard these past few years. Don't flatter yourself, Frank." I felt like Diana and I were stuck in a hopeless knot. It felt like a huge misunderstanding, but I couldn't figure out what it was. I sat on the steps outside my apartment that night, just staring at the moon for hours. Chloe opened her door and came to sit beside me. She looked pale. "Pain acting up again?" I asked. "I'm fine," she said. I told her the whole story from the hospital. She said it has nothing to do with me. I finished. From her point of view, "Frank, you're a total jerk." I was so frustrated I could barely speak. "Whose side are you on?" She stood up, brushed the dust off her pants, and headed back inside. "Frank," she said over her shoulder, "life's too short to be trapped in your own head." I turned just in time to see her door close. Chloe was like my own personal guru, always cutting right to the heart of the matter. She was right. The reason I couldn't believe Diana could ever truly like me was because of my own insecurity. After chemo, I had to shave my head. I wore a wig when I first went back to school. I even had a girlfriend for a while. But the day I finally worked up the nerve to take the wig off in front of her, I saw the panic in her eyes. She said all the right, pitying things, but she took a step back. I was calm when I broke up with her. All I could think was, thank God that wasn't Diana. In high school, I was so full of life and energy. Cancer didn't just destroy my body, it destroyed my confidence. I would rather have Diana hate me than pity me. It had been 2 weeks since I'd seen Diana. I had a feeling she was actively avoiding me. It was a typical Monday, and I was getting ready to head home. Just as I stepped out of the building, I saw her. A luxury car pulled up, and a stylish older man got out. He threw his arm around her neck and kissed her cheek. "Sweetheart, I missed you." Diana looked annoyed. "Didn't we just have lunch?" So she hadn't been lying. She really did live a wild life. The guy was old enough to be her father. Out of sight, out of mind. I turned to walk in the other direction. I didn't get 2 steps before a hand grabbed my arm. It was the older man. You're the one. The man my baby girl has been obsessed with all these years." I braced myself, thinking he was about to punch me, but he just stood in my way. "You're finally here. You're the cure for my Diana." "What? Dad, can you please stop talking?" "Dad?" I was stunned. It really was her father. My mind had gone to a dirty place. Diana rushed over, grabbed my arm, and started pulling me back toward the office building. Her dad was still yelling after us. "Diana, don't worry about dinner with me. Just confess your feelings and bring him home. Your mother and I want grandchildren." What on earth was happening? The elevator ride was incredibly awkward. Diana's face was beet red. She hit the button for the top floor and pulled me out onto the rooftop terrace. The setting sun cast a warm glow on her flushed face. After a long hesitation, she finally spoke. "I admit it," she said. "Ever since you rejected me 6 years ago, I haven't been able to feel anything for any other guy. Even though I know you only did it to win that bet." I was confused. Win the bet? That time you confessed to me, wasn't it all because of a dare? So she had known the whole time. I knew I owed her an apology, and I felt awkward. "I'm sorry. I was young and stupid. You know how I was back then? Always competitive, never wanted to lose. It was just like that time I had an eating contest with Jimmy and almost put him in the hospital. Ethan dared me to ask you out. I knew you'd already turned him down, and you'd never say yes to me. But I just had to prove a point. I wasn't thinking. I thought I sounded pretty sincere, but when I glanced at her, her expression was cold, clearly unimpressed. "Frank," she asked, "did you really never like me at all?" The question caught me completely off guard. Of course I had. But what good would it do to admit it? I was about to just say it, to hell with the consequences, when my phone rang. I pulled it out. The screen said Chloe. Diana's voice was icy. "Don't answer it." I ignored her. "Hello." It was my dad. Frank, Chloe collapsed. You need to get to the hospital. Now. My heart dropped. I hung up and sprinted for the elevators. Diana screamed after me. If you walk away now, you will never see me again. I steeled myself and kept going. Chloe was in bad shape. The doctor said she didn't have much time left. I knew this was coming the day she decided to stop treatment, but that didn't stop the crushing pain in my chest. She slept most of the time, and all I could do was sit by her side and pray. God, please, just give her a little more time. Take some of my years and give them to her. I don't want your years, she whispered, a weak smile on her face. I'm too good for this world anyway. It's a miracle I've lasted this long. I frowned. Are you reading my mind? Do I need to read your mind to know what you're thinking? Her comment made me laugh despite myself. Then she asked for the latest update on Diana and me. She was always a gossip. I just seen in the group chat that Diana was going abroad for a while. Return date unknown. Her last message was a dramatic, maybe I'll never come back. After that, silence. I kept my feelings bottled up. I couldn't fall apart in front of Chloe. It would feel selfish. She let out a long sigh and shook her head, as if she could see right through me. I stayed by her side for 2 more weeks before she had another major hemorrhage. Doctors and nurses flooded the room, pushing me out into the hallway. They were in there for a long time. I thought about calling her parents back home. I pulled out my phone, but I saw that Chloe had sent a message to Diana from my phone. It was a 60-second voice note, followed by a 10-second one. She'd sent them 2 days ago. Diana hadn't replied. I pressed play. Chloe's voice was light, but I could hear the weakness behind it. Hey girl, just to be clear, I'm just Frank's cover story. You two are unbelievable, honestly. It's so obvious you like him, which is why you feel like he abandoned. All I can say is, Frank is more stubborn than anyone I've ever met. He's not like other guys, and he would never intentionally hurt anyone. He told me once that he liked a girl so much, the only way he could work up the nerve to talk to her was by making it part of stupid dare. That was you, wasn't it? Anyway, I won't say more. I am sick. I don't have much time left. You need to come back. Sometimes boys are harder to handle than girls. Come back and help me comfort him. By that point, I was sobbing. I played the second message. You know, if I wasn't sick, I'd never let you have him. If you don't come back, I'll haunt you. The world went silent. Something inside me snapped. I stood by the door, tears blurring my vision, and whispered, Chloe, just live a few more years. Just a few. It's not like I even like having you around that much anyway. Diana's gone. If you leave me too, I don't think I can take it. I admit it, I'm weak. One of you has to stay with me. Frank. I turned. Diana was running toward me, a blur of motion and the scent of orchids. She collapsed into my arms, out of breath. I'm back, she panted. I'm not leaving. I'm never leaving again. I didn't have time to wonder how she got there. I just held on to her, letting everything out. I was still clinging to her, her shirt soaked with my tears when the doctor came out. I'm sorry. We did everything we could. I helped Chloe's parents with the arrangements. I didn't sleep for days, running on empty, but I still went to work. I was just a zombie, going through the motions. I saw Diana a few times, but I deliberately avoided her. The way she looked at me was so gentle, like she was giving me space to grieve. Then one day, my body gave out. I collapsed in the elevator. I woke up on the couch in Diana's office. She set a glass of warm water on the coffee table. You're awake. Seeing the steam rise from the glass, I forced my aching body to sit up. She came over and helped me, and I realized she looked even more exhausted than I felt. I thought you went abroad, I said. Why did you come back? She sat beside me, her voice barely a whisper. It was just a short business trip. I was too tired to care that she had lied to everyone. Frank, I admit it, I was jealous. So jealous I was going crazy. I just wanted to see you upset over me. Even for a second, my throat felt tight. I decided to just tell her. 6 years ago, I was sick. I had cancer. Her head snapped up. I couldn't bring myself to look at her, but I could feel her shock. Don't look at me like that. I'm in remission now. The chances of it coming back are probably low. It was so quiet I could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Her voice was choked with tears. I'm such an idiot. So that text you sent to Ethan back then, it didn't mean what I thought it meant. My mind flashed back. It was true. After that day at the reunion, I had gotten a text from Ethan. I got into Northwestern too, he'd written. Looks like our bet is still on. I guarantee Diana will be asking me out within a semester. I'd sent back a cocky reply. Just wanted to get under his skin. Elite. Already slept with her. I win. I never imagined he would actually screenshot it and send it to Diana to verify. No wonder she thought everything I did was about winning that stupid bet. The confession, the lie. Of course she thought I was a monster. So you're just, what? Living out a fantasy? Not trying to win a bet. This was even more humiliating. But we were already laying all the cards on the table, so I might as well get my own frustrations out. But you liked Ethan back then, didn't you? That set her off. Her voice rose, her face a mask of disgust. Who said I liked him? He was constantly hitting on me. I used your dare as an excuse to get away from him, and you just shut me down flat. I was silent. Actually, she continued, Ethan told me about the dare before you even came over. I didn't want to be a prize in your stupid game, but I wanted you to win. That's why I let you hold my hand and walk away with me. But you started hanging out with him right after that. That was to make you jealous. You rejected me. I thought you didn't care. I rolled my eyes. Diana, I was literally fighting for my life. She slapped her forehead in frustration. I guess I deserved that. My timing was terrible. A gust of wind blew through the open window, scattering papers across her desk. It felt like it was also scattering all the misunderstandings that had built up between us over the years. Diana didn't bring up dating again. She knew I wasn't in the right headspace after Chloe's death. Her dad, however, started stopping by my office whenever he was in the building to see her, always bringing me gifts. I'm not just talking fruit baskets. He brought expensive bottles of scotch that were starting to pile up at my desk. My boss was so intimidated he stopped asking me to work late. Diana went back to being the gentle person I remembered. She'd wait for me after work, drive me home, and we'd just talk about her day. But the moment we got to my apartment building, she'd get visibly tense and say a quick goodbye. I had no idea what she was so nervous about. I'd smile, then find myself knocking on the door across the hall on Chloe's door. No answer, of course. I closed my eyes and heard her voice in my head. Life's too short to be trapped in your own head. In that moment, all my pent-up emotions came crashing down like a tidal wave. I shot up and ran downstairs. As I rounded the corner of my building, I saw Diana standing there, staring up at the moon. The moonlight dappled through the trees, making her beautiful face look almost ethereal. She saw me and looked confused. What are you doing back outside? I ran to her and pulled her into a fierce hug. Her body went rigid, as if she couldn't believe it. Hold me, I whispered. Her arms finally came up to wrap around me. What's wrong? She asked. I'm sorry, I said, and thank you for waiting for me. She gave a soft laugh. I've waited 6 years. What's a few more weeks? Whenever you're ready, just come find me. I'll be right here, waiting. I lowered my head, looked at her beautiful lips, and kissed her. They were so soft, exactly as I had always imagined. She led me back to her apartment. Her face was flushed, her lips slightly swollen from our kiss. Are you sure about this? She asked. I've been waiting 6 years. I might be a little intense. Her fingers were on the second button of my shirt when my words gave her pause. Her hand froze. Maybe we should stop. I swept her up into my arms, laid her on the bed, and kissed the hollow of her throat. Too late, I murmured. She cried for as long as the moon shone in the sky. And to think I was worried I would feel pity for her. I had been a fool. Later, she took control. I've been sick before, I started to say. But you're better now, aren't you? She whispered back. I had no reply. In the early hours of the morning, she curled up against me and bit down hard on my shoulder. I winced. Diana, was that revenge for what happened back then? She giggled. Now we're even. I was about to retaliate, but she just snuggled deeper into my arms. When I woke up the next morning, she had already made breakfast. She'd even drawn a smiley face on my fried eggs with ketchup. So childish. I called your office and told them you'd be in late, she said. What about you? Aren't you going to work? I took the day off, and so willful. On the drive to my office, the pain in my stomach grew sharper. I'd had a few twinges over the past few days, but had brushed them off as fatigue. Was the cancer back? I couldn't let myself think about it. I had just found happiness. I couldn't lose it all now. What's wrong? Diana asked. The cold sweat on my forehead gave me away. Where does it hurt? It hurt too much to speak. I just pointed to my stomach. She made a sharp U-turn and sped toward the hospital. She tried to look calm, even forcing a smile when she caught me looking at her. Don't worry, she said. I'm sure it's nothing. But her trembling hands on the steering wheel betrayed her panic. She turned a 20-minute drive into 10. We registered, waited in line, went for scans. She pushed me in a wheelchair from one department to another, her shirt damp with sweat, her bangs plastered to her forehead. When I came out of the imaging room, she was standing by the window, her hands clasped together in prayer. Please, she was whispering, give half of my years to Frank. No, give him 2/3. I can't bear to watch him go before me. A bitter taste filled my mouth. So that's why my prayers for Chloe hadn't been answered. I didn't have any years to spare. Fate has a cruel sense of humor. The doctor adjusted his glasses, his expression grim. Diana squeezed my hand, her palm ice cold. My hope began to fade, and I braced myself for the verdict. So, the doctor said, how long has it been since your last bowel movement? I never expected such a mundane question. I stared at him, then mumbled, maybe 3 or 5 days? A week? Maybe 10. The doctor turned his monitor toward us, showing the scan. You see all this? He asked, pointing. That's impacted stool. Of course you're in pain. You've been constipated this long without doing anything about it? And you, he said, looking at Diana. As his partner, you should have noticed. Diana coughed to hide a laugh. Yes, you're right, doctor. My mistake. It was the most mortifying experience of my life. That image of my insides is going to haunt me forever. To make things worse, the second we left the doctor's office, before I'd even taken any medication, the urge hit me. I had to sprint to the restroom right in front of Diana. The relief was incredible. I felt light enough to float. The despair, however, came from the knowledge that Diana was waiting right outside, having listened to the symphony of my relief. Just kill me now. I wanted the earth to swallow me whole. I walked out awkwardly. Diana was engrossed in her phone. What are you up to? I asked. Oh, just ordered some bananas and dragon fruit to be delivered to your place. You're not going to work. I'm taking you home. I kept my head down, too embarrassed to meet her eyes. It's just constipation. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. You could just drop me at. She suddenly pulled me into a tight hug. Diana, I was so scared, she whispered, her voice trembling. I thought I was going to lose you. In a few days, I'm getting you a full physical. From now on, I'm planning your meals. And you have to promise to tell me the second you feel any pain. I can't go through that again, Frank. I can't. She squeezed me again, as if afraid I might disappear. I smiled and patted her back. You silly girl. I'm perfectly healthy. Let me take care of you, she pleaded. Okay, I said. Fate decided to stop playing games with us. The full physical came back clean. The doctor said my chances of a recurrence were extremely low. I was going to live a long, long time. I bought a huge bouquet of red roses and took them to Chloe's grave. She'd always said that when she was gone, she only wanted red roses. She wanted her final resting place to stand out. For the longest time, I refused to even consider the fact that she had feelings for me, because whenever I did, the pain was suffocating. I wiped the dust from her headstone and sat down beside it to talk to her. I proposed to Diana. I told her. She said yes. Just like you wanted, I'm going to be happy. And I'm making you a promise. In the next life, it's my turn to look after you. You have to stay healthy and wait for me. Next time, you're going to live a long, full life. A light rain began to fall. I looked up and saw a single cloud shaped like a smiley face. It felt like her answer. When I walked out of the cemetery gates, Diana was leaning against her car, letting the rain fall on her. We were both soaked. I walked up to her and brushed a few raindrops from the ends of her hair. There's an umbrella in the car. Why didn't you use it? You were getting rained on too, she said simply. I leaned in and gave her a soft, quick kiss. City Hall should be open. Let's go get our marriage license. But my makeup is a mess. Can't we go tomorrow? Nope. I can't wait another day. I need to be able to legally spoil you by tonight. She understood my meaning and broke into a sweet smile as she started the car and headed for City Hall. The clouds parted, the sun broke through, and a rainbow stretched across the sky. I knew it was a wedding gift from Chloe.